You gotta start the show.
Okay, I have to introduce the whole thing now. This is Grindstone.
Happy Hump Day from the world's most controversial, political, garbage dumpster fire in the world. Live from Washington, D.C. Here I am forgetting to put stuff on Vibrizzle. What am I doing? You know, whenever you start a thingamajig, you need to put all phones on Vibrizzle. Put it on vibrate. Put it on vibrate. So I hope everything's checking out for you today. Primarily, let's start with you get up and you check on yourself. How old is your toothbrush? I'm trusting everybody brushed their teeth this morning. But I just went to a comedy show this weekend, and the comedian Shang Wang, hella funny dude. I actually went to the taping of his Netflix special. But he had this bit where he's talking about toothbrushes. You'll see it when it comes on Netflix. But, you know, when you think about it, your toothbrush should be used at least twice a day on your teeth. And it doesn't need to get more than 90 days of active duty. Any more than 90 days of active duty, it's like you're recycling toilet paper in your mouth. Kind of, right? And it's just really no need for that. You know, so I swear, this morning I used a brand new toothbrush. And honestly, it was a completely different experience. I gotten way too used to my toothbrush. To be honest, I don't know how long I've been using that particular toothbrush, but I'll just vote for too long. And man, hey, do yourself the favor, go buy you a soft bristled toothbrush today and use it. Or if you have an electric toothbrush, change the head on the joint today. Just make today the day. You know, you can make a better way for yourself. Just a good way to start the day. Secondly, for those of you all who take showers, you know, I know everybody doesn't wash up, but for those of you all who take showers, answer this. Get out a piece of paper, a pencil, and write it down so you'll be able to look at your result. When was the last time you changed your shower curtain liner? Has that joint had a birthday? If so, use a nasty such and such. But anyway, I welcome you here. But just think about it though, like the small cost of that. You'll go all the way across town to get a seafood plate that got caught 500 miles away out of sea and got handed to this person, that person. Then you put on your clothes, you pay valet parking, you pull up to the spot after you made the reservation. You probably go with somebody where it may or may not work out as companions. You know, you do all this uncomfortable stuff trying to get to the point of some sort of personal satisfaction. All you're really looking for is personal satisfaction. Whether it's like some cuddle up time with that person, some licking and sticking with that person, or maybe you just go dolo, or maybe you and that person are foodies and you just want to try this food that is going through all these steps to travel, to land in you so you could chew on it and swallow it. Just to get satisfaction. And that comes with the price tag. An easier solution for some satisfaction, change your toothbrush and your shower curtain. And what your shower curtain liner, the inside, that plastic job. And just watch how your life changes. You dirty little you dirty little We're here now. Welcome to episode 85 of Sorry for My Language. Oh, yeah. Welcome to episode 85 of Sorry for My Language. Today, I'm actually not going to take up much of your time because I just want to chop it up a little. And I just want to give some, this is an episode where I'm just spilling life game because I think sometimes we get too caught in the woods of whatever we get caught in the woods of, and then we forget that life game is the essence. We need the game to be spilled, spit, and revealed quick. But before I get to that, I just want to let you know this episode of Sorry for My Language, as always, is brought to you by our wonderful sponsor, Grindstone Universal. You know it. You see it. Enough is enough. It's showtime. I was about to drop. Man, I had a nightmare. I can't even tell you what the nightmare is because I don't want nobody trying to recreate it. But yeah, I can't even tell you what it's about. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I just got triggered. Shout out to your triggers. Ooh, that was almost like violence. Yo, I made you look. No, but seriously, not even so seriously. There's a lot of game about life that needs to be spilled. Now, I know in the last episode, I had like this little tickle in my throat. I was a little under the weather. I'm acting brand new today and I'm moving too fast. Because just about an hour ago, I was like, man, I'm up to par. I'm about to go swimming. Now, mind you, it's not the coldest weather outside, but it's not the warmest. But for those of you all who are familiar with my voice, you can hear I'm not all the way back. But brother, get a little bit of leg up and then want to do the most. I need to chill. And I'm glad doing this particular episode is letting me hear myself telling me I need to chill out. Like what the hell I'm going to be doing? Pushing myself, breathing hella hard, cold water, cold air. Man, that ain't healing. You got to rest sometimes. Resting is quite all right. Sometimes you got to chill. But here's a couple things that I could serve the purpose of. You could take with you, you could apply it to yourself, or you can apply it to having a tough conversation with somebody or giving clarity to a person who might need it, you know? So let me start. First of all, in this time, in this country, and when I say time, I just mean this era. Like there might be another era, but in this one, you got to have money. Cash, money. I understand that you believe in God. I understand that you believe in doing your max potential. I understand that you believe that you're so physically beautiful that you can underachieve and someone else should serve you. I understand that you believe that you're a little angel and everything's going to come your way. I understand that you believe that life is fair. And I'm here to tell you, you really level the playing field with a coin or two in your pocket at your access. And it's really crazy because when you're sitting on a little donut or two, you think that I'm good. I'm gonna come up. Somebody gonna give me a look. Things are gonna change. Stuff is gonna happen. And in all reality, nothing is gonna change at all with any type of reliability if you don't change it. And I'm just gonna say, like, two things that you need. You need great health and you need money.
You need money.
Cash, money.
And there's no polite, nice, cute way to say it. It's just with respect to all your other habits and beliefs, having money, if you don't have money, life is hard. I was just speaking to my cousin. I called her for her birthday today, but I think I missed it. I think her birthday was Friday. I wasn't sure if it was last Friday or this Friday, but she turned 88 years old. And she's a real talkative one. But she'll get, man, I love her because she talks, she be on point. She could talk it up with the best of them. And I really love getting advice from elders, perspective, just watching, listening, but we talked about various things. But she just told me that her daddy told her, and she said her daddy was a man of the streets. What a title. Excuse me, little lady. I'm a man of the streets. He was a man of the streets. And when she was getting into her Baptist holy phase, mind you, she's 88. So everybody at a certain young age back then, they was with the church, Bible, all that very early. It was just the way. He was like, baby, I don't care how much you are into your Bible, how much Bible thumping you do. Life without money is hard. So he was like, you got to hold on to some, you gotta pinch a penny. You gotta grab a bag. And it just stands true. And when she told me that today, it wasn't like a comment of suffering. It was a comment like a green light. Do you get your bread? Because the one thing about not having money, several of you can attest to this. When your money's funny, people act funny. Fledglings start talking wild and acting very dismissive of you, regardless of what you've done for them or regardless of what you're in the act of doing for them. I used to be, like I said before, I used to be a school teacher. I taught 7th and 8th grade. I did it when I was age 22 and 23. So I was pretty much I was 10 years older than my students. So we had a good rapport. I was young. I had the energy to deal with the damn near impossible task of teaching at public school on the middle school level. But man, shout out to all the teachers. Y'all need to. But no interruption. Y'all are doing God's work, for real. As long as you're doing it with integrity and you're really doing your best and you're showing up, doing it for the kids who show up, man, look, you're doing damn near military work, like straight up. So anyway, I had a student, and I was also the basketball coach, right? So I had a student, and the students felt real comfortable for me. I would drive some of them home after school, after basketball practice. I was just super helpful. You got to catch them young and foolish, that's where I was. I was young and foolish, and I was doing all the things. The school would ask me to do way too much, and I would do the shit because I was enthusiastic about teaching the youth, right? A person with a few more years on him would be like, you got to pay me for that. But I was doing all types of shit, getting underpaid, not negotiating independent contracts, just taking what they offered first. What a kid. But anyway, one day in class, the point guard on the basketball team, who was the best player on the team, it would damn near be like, we would damn near ISO him every time because nobody could take him one-on-one from another team. And that was like our key to victory. But he was a B student in my class. So, I appreciated that effort from him as well. But one day he stood up in class, unprompted, didn't raise his hand. He stood up and he said, so let me get this right. One day I'm going to be in the NBA and I'm going to make $1 million. And you're going to still be here in this classroom teaching these badass kids? He stood up in class and said that. Right? And I was just like, no, I am not. And in my mind, as he said that, it was as if the powers that be spoketh through the child and brought the message to me like, get out. But that was my second year of teaching, and I already told myself when I accepted the job, I'm only doing this for 2 years. I'm not going to be a teacher, getting underpaid, getting my toes stepped on, getting laughed at. I'm not doing this for 2 years. It was kind of like an island going from my college major job into kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. But when he told me that, I was like, yeah, for sure, I'm up out of here. Don't even worry about it. But it was beautiful that he told me that. And that was a child knowing the super facts that in this lifetime, you got to have money. Because without it, life in America is too damn hard. It's unreasonably unforgiving. It is unfair. It is bad food. It is bad health care. It's the inability to get from point A to point B. It's the inability to lobby for resources in your community. It's the perpetual state of being unheard by those who you wish to be heard by. It is being unseen by those who are making decisions for you around you. Being broke will break the back of the strongest of families. And it's just how it is. And that's what, unless you totally excommunicate your belief of anything American, societal, comfort, any of that, unless you suspend your belief of all that, and not only your belief, but your reality. So it's not like you believe one thing, but then you live with your mom, or you live off somebody who hasn't believed in the shit with you. Unless you completely get up off that, you're going to come to the realization that money makes shit a lick of different. So for all of you all out there trying to figure out a way, I'm going to say find your way. I'm going to say find your belief. Find your backbone. Find your moral code that you will not break for nobody. And within all that, you got to know. You got to have money. Cash money. Just how it is. And with that, it's best if you merge your passion with your pockets. So learn how to make your hobby or your interest pay you. So then that's when you're like the thing that you really, really, really like. If you're really, really, really excellent at it, there's a market for that. Or there's a way to market that and create a stream. But that's for you to figure out. I'm not here to tell you how to do that because I don't know. I only know how to sweep up my pile and distribute it and get something from here to there. But the whole message I just wanted to bring you on this topic is you got to be about it or you got to be without it. That's how it is.
What is it really? What is it really? Tell me what's it really all about?
And a lot of y'all be asking yourselves, what's it really all about? Is it all about money? Oddly enough, the answer is no. It's not all about money. And that's where it gets tricky because you're like, well, if it's not all about money, but I got to have money. Yep, you got to have money. But I'll tell you what not having money is like compared to having money. It's like not having half of one of your feet. Is life all about having 2 feet? No. Nope. But it's a little harder if you don't have both of your feet. It gets a little harder, you know? You got to have provisions in place. People be like, man, why he walking like that? He don't have both his feet. Why he standing like that? Why you got that cane? Why why the handicap placard? Why can't you run when we all running? Why can't you climb a fence? You know, it just gets a little different if you don't have both your feet. And not having money, it's like not having one of your feet attached to your ankle in this country of America. So I guess one of the things that brought this to me and a lot of my friends have children who are growing up, and it's our job to be their advisors. Some of them, well, I'm my son's advisor, because he's an adult. But, some of y'all are the complete guidance system. And if you leave the money conversation out or something, if you leave that shit all the way out, you're handicapping your kid. Flat out. You're kind of leaving them with 1 foot under the buzzsaw, waiting to get sliced off in America. Just how it is. But that was really on my chest. Sometimes you got to get stuff off your chest. And speaking of getting stuff off your chest, I learned so much this year. I have learned a wealth of information this year. It would have really been dope if I was journaling, and really jotting down all the feelings. It would have damn near been too raw. Too damn raw. Ships. It's so raw, I'm going to start journaling again. Just as I think about if I was really detailing my thought processes throughout some of the days. Actually, this podcast, this show, this lifestyle, philosophy, culture, music show called Sorry for My Language has really helped me express myself. And oftentimes I express what's directly on my mind through my stream of consciousness. But there are certain situations that I'll never speak on this microphone to y'all because it's a personal shit that I haven't worked out yet, And so, but that being said, this has served as like an audio visual journal for me. And I haven't looked at a lot of the old episodes because I'm always going forward. But at some point, for you all, for me, this will serve as like a cataloging of my thoughts of where I am, where I was, which is one solid reason why I usually refrain from talking about anything pop culture type stuff. Like, I definitely don't get on here and gossip about people's business and stuff. That's not what this is for, because I think that right there is dry chicken. And I know people could get a check off of that, and that's how they get their money, right? And I'm saying life without money in America sucks ass, but it doesn't leave anything that brings the viewer to a better place within themselves later. It's really trash. It's like fast fashion of talk, And I know there are a lot of people who get on here and call themselves journalists, right? Like they're actually doing journalism on here, which is something that I disagree with. Because journalism, first of all, journalism has the responsibility of being reliable, spreading news, spreading news reliably, with brevity and clarity, and to bring up a form of discussion amongst the public. In its most basic essence, that's what journalism is. And I think a lot of the stuff that's going on is more gossip on several broadcasts, podcasts, TV shows, whatever. And it's that's not journalism. And even on the shows in which you look for journalists, it's gossip. You know, it's not news. It's not there to bring about a discussion of the truth with the public. And one of the main things that journalists are held responsible for amongst the pure journalists is keeping power accountable and making sure power doesn't run amok. Which brings me to this point. As a musician, you and just only you, what do you think was more important? What would you rather have? Popularity, money without popularity, like like on some indie type tip. Grammys or a Pulitzer Prize, or a combination of any of the two. What would you rather have? Let's take money out of it because everybody's going to add that on as their two. So what would you rather have? Popularity, Grammys, or a Pulitzer Prize? What would you rather have? Pick one. I know what I'd rather have. Out of all those three, popularity, Grammys, or a Pulitzer Prize, I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm going for that Pulitzer Prize. So I was thinking the other day, might have been a couple weeks ago, about the fact that Kendrick Lamar is the only rapper who got the Pulitzer Prize. And I was like, damn, how did they, at that time I was listening to Nas's album, It Was Written. And I was like, damn, how they overlook this if they giving out Pulitzer Prizes for rappers? Like if hip hop music, if music is getting Pulitzer Prizes, how they overlook It Was Written? Because my goodness gracious, alive. That album is smoke and fire. And just the way it's written. So I didn't know what the Pulitzer Prize was about. So the Pulitzer Prize was originated by a journalist named Joseph Pulitzer. And he originated this award and this foundation in his trust at his passing. He, in the late 19th century, was a journalist and who was known as just a fierce hawk on keeping the government, the U.S. government, in check and not lying to the people. And he would always challenge that. And he was a highly regarded journalist for doing that. So I think he was at I'm not sure if he wrote for the New York Times or I can't remember who he wrote for. But in terms of news media and information getting distributed and propagated to the masses, Joseph Pulitzer was a person who would make sure that everybody got the truth, that it was clear, that it was succinct, and that it held power accountable. Now, when you think about those statutes to make a prize, or an award, or a person, then you understand, okay, I see how Kendrick's Damn album got that, right? Shout out to Kendrick. Now, in that regard, Kendrick's album was not a one of one, right? Hold up. What other album? Well, no, I'm not even going to go down on a rabbit hole. But Kendrick's album was not a one of one in that regard, but it was the one to get the Pulitzer. So I had to look up the Pulitzer Prize, right? I was like, okay, How is this distributed? Well, there's a committee of people who rotates, and they come from different types of backgrounds, and they're vetted, highly vetted, and they determine who is worthy of this award. I believe it's every year, and it might be more than one person because there's several categories. However, this is, oops, what did I just do? However, this is the difference. The difference in this award and all other awards is the fact that it's not awarded every year. If someone is not deserving of the award, an award isn't passed out. That's the best thing I heard out of that award. If people are not deserving of the award, they don't pick the best of the pack. Like every year, you got an album of the year Grammy. You got a song of the year Grammy. You got people going to NFL Hall of Fame. You got this, that, and the third. It ain't always people worthy of that. Just because another year has happened, it doesn't mean that something is great. It doesn't mean that something is worthy. So in this, you understand that there is a award gifting industrial complex. This is a whole thing in and of itself where it has to happen every year for most awards. So there are finances involved that push the envelope. However, with the Pulitzer Prize, it is one of the purest, most highly esteemed awards that keeps it a buck. Like, hey, nobody was worth it this year. This is something where we gonna keep the standard where the standard is. And I was like, you know what? The way that I create art, the way that I create music, the way that I create everything I create is for the judgment ultimately of my cohorts in the land of the thing. You know, it's cool if the easily swayed public likes it, but most of the time that's left up to how much you market it. You know, like how much marketing you put behind it, at which point the marketing team needs to have its award ceremony. But when it comes down to what is and what happens to be, I like to be judged by the critics who do the thing and who know the thing. And whether you judge it good or bad, those are the only awards that really count to me. And those is very few awards that are actually like that. You know, but the Pulitzer, out of the three, whether it's popularity, the Grammys, or the Pulitzer Prize, I'd rather have the Pulitzer. So I got 2 albums. Man, listen. Man, hold up. I've been working. I got stuff. I got things. I got items. I'm doing my thing. I'm bringing it to market. You're going to see how this whole commerce plan unfold. But fuck all that. You're going to experience wonderment. Something to feel on her booty too. From the heart. If I was young and rich, I'd marry you, but I'm old and I hate so. What I'm about to do is about to answer, it's going to provide answers for some people with questions. Whether it solves your curiosity for something in society, about yourself, about the art of expression. I'm doing that for y'all. And it's all aligned. I don't even have to cook up no more. The cook up has been cooked up. Okay? You just wait for the drops. Just wait for the drops. That's all I ask. So yeah, look for a lot to come from the Grindstone Universal and the Grindstone Music Corner. And I'm not trying to, let me not duff it like that, but I'm putting Pulitzer over Grammys. So when it comes to what I submit to and what I'm throwing my hat in the ring for, when I say submit, I mean submit my work to, Pulitzer Prize it is, man. We going for the, we going for the Parmigiano of the prestigiosity. You feel me? All that other nonsense is a rich friends game. Fuck that. That's so circumstantial. Dudes with their phones out with their skinny pants on. Girls with their Botoxed up faces and their lace fronts. Man, I ain't trying to be around all that. That don't make what I've done what it's supposed to be. Just because I got 3 half smiling, lip glossed up chicks behind me, licking their lips at the perfect time when the camera shoots. Man, that shit is so early 2000s. You know, at this point, at some point, we got to evolve with what we think is fly, what we think is not even edgy, but what we think is worth it. You know? Yeah, I see your entourage got everybody got a chain on. How about you know my name because you looked through something and found something out? Why I got to wear my name on my chest right here? Why I got to wear something hanging from my neck says my name? Grindstone. You see it shining when it hit the light. Grindstone. You know who I am, right? You know who I'm is, right?
You know who I'm is, right? You know me, baby, don't you? You see it?
That ain't fly. And at some point, you got to feel kind of like a nut for doing that. But that's not what I'm here for, because to each his own. I'm just here to put the work out there on the Striz needs. And I'm in the market doing my thizning. And I encourage you to take your dreams and match your hobbies and your passion with your pockets. We're all in the same game as society does cartwheels and flips from its old self to its new self right now. You know, those of you standing still, I know you're trying to hold firm to the 401k or to, I got Apple stock. I'm safe, right? I got Apple stock. I got some NVIDIA. I'm safe, right? You might be safe. You might be safe as fuck, right? But in the meantime, keep pushing. It's a whole new thing coming out. You looking at this right now, right? In some way, this is going to benefit me as the producer, and I hope that this benefits you as the viewer. But you need to be pushing your own line. This is me pushing my shit. You need to be pushing your own line in this new wild world. So, all of that being said, I'm just here to distribute some information today. Almost did this yesterday. Another golden piece of advice: don't pee in the wind. Because first of all, the only reason you peeing outside is because it didn't look like you was going to make it to an inside bathroom. So when you're peeing outside, you really got to go. And it's not unless it's extreme, you're not cutting the stream off. Somebody walk up, they just seeing a man pee. But I almost didn't judge the wind right. And I was in an alley. So, you know, the wind intensifies in the alleyway. And I had to go from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock with that. Oh, the wind is coming like this. I had to, so the wind will go like that with it. You know, so don't pee in the wind. And if you heard nothing else from me, that you can use it as advice, I hope you got that. And, hey, stay hydrated. I got spirulina in my water. I was trying to max out thinking I was going to go swimming, but that's right. I have to chill. But nevertheless, Kicking It Live, episode 85. I'm Grindstone, your magnetic soothsayer, keeping it player. Go to grindstoneuniversal.com. I'm telling you, go to grindstoneuniversal.com where I keep it live. Stay well.